Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania has long been home to Williams Grove Speedway. It's like the Martinsville of dirt racing. Long straightaways, tight corners, a paperclip figure, and we're here this evening for some dirt late model racing. Of course, carrying on with the Elite Performance Industries portion of 2023 season number 3 for us, the Pro Late Model Series and the DIRTcar Series. Excited to get going, as we have got, I'm going to say, 16 cars once again. They should all go right into the feature. This might be a quick program this evening as we get ready to get racing from this half mile. Let's take a look at the track map coming into this evening, of course. Taking a look there at the very paperclip-esque Williams Grove Speedway, and we did this track map almost nearly to track dimensions, although turns 1 and 2 are a little bit wider than depicted here, but you can see the grass that outlines the inside of the race course, of course, up to the wall, and there are still some tire bundles and walls in front of those bits of grass, but you could, if you send it a little too hard, you could end up in some grass over in turns 1 and 2 or turns 3 and 4. The fastest DIRTcar Pro late model time of record coming into this week on iRacing is an 18.686. Now, these guys with tire wear, they may not be able to touch those lap times now because the optimum track time might be in that window where they've already burned their tires down, and that's something that I actually am very new to with dirt racing. I don't know all the ins and outs of tire wear on dirt, but I took some laps here earlier. I took 15 laps to myself to kind of see how much these tires would wear, and of course that's on the iRacing Fix setup. There's differences with these driver setups this evening, but I will say I got the right rear down under 80%, all the way down nearly to 70% in just 15 laps of racing. I can only imagine what 30 will do this evening. Let's take a look at the point standings coming into today. As there we go, they pop up. Blake Majulis leading the way over Evan C. Of course, teammates over at Majulis C Motorsports, or Speed Shop, there we go, Majulis C Speed Shop. Caleb Durgan, 3rd place. I want to highlight this driver out of New York. He has run a buttload of races, I gotta say. 27 races, 9 wins this season, and he's a B-class driver, and he is up there with the pros. And I just want to give a shout out to that guy, really putting in some work. Caleb Durgan, position number 3 coming into the standings this evening. You see things still relatively tight across the board. We have the top 10 within 150 points, which is a good start. Would like to tighten those up if we can, but we'll see how this season treats us. Down trackside, we have cars ready to go racing. Let's take a look at our starting grid for heat number 1. Lucas Ruark, fastest in qualifying, will lead us to the green this evening in car 5. Blake Majulis will start from 2nd. Starting 3rd in heat number 1, it's James Starry. Aaron Langley from the 4th spot. Starting 5th in heat 1, you've got Chase Barbara alongside Robbie Buchanan Jr. And the back row of heat number 1, Tucker Elkins and Jeremy Steele. Now, we will, of course, still have heat races. I believe iRacing will skip the consolation, but we may still end up running it as we are starting all 16 cars here this evening. A quick look at weather conditions. You can see 89.6 degrees in the air. It is a hot summer day in virtual Mechanicsburg, PA. 85-degree track temp, but a quick look at our schedule this season. Port Royal, Lincoln, Williams Grove, the first 3 rounds, keeping it in Pennsylvania before we go to Fairbury American Legion Speedway next week, July 3rd. Then Lernerville back in PA for round 5, over to Missouri for I-55 in round 6. Of course, just 8 cars in this first action of the evening, the heat race. Well, heat race number 1, because we do, of course, have a 30-lap feature to count. 8 laps in each of these heats. Open setup, and of course, caution laps will not be counting for these drivers. As we get our first look at this 8-car field. And, of course, these guys did just have the spring fling. I saw Majulis C and many others that we see on these Monday evening broadcasts now in that race doing well. Evan C even won that race, so congratulations to that team and of course to Evan C as we get ready to go racing. A big thank you to Elite Performance Industries, Tyler Payne, and everybody else over there for having us here on this Monday evening. Glad to have you all with us as we get set to turn them loose. 8 laps for Heat 1. We are underway at Williams Grove. Lap 1 complete, and how about Lucas Ruark? Still the bottom side, but Julius now actually bottom. Ruark up top and taking the middle line away from that 127. Majulis, though, doing a fantastic job down low. Now slides in behind the race leader. And look at James Starry, an all-white number, I can't even tell what number that is on the side of that car, but a nice wide-out paint scheme. I like it. The silver decals, I think number 74 potentially, running in that third spot as Ruark was fastest that lap, but not by much over Majulis as they dive into turn 3. Here's the onboard from your race leader as they work around turns 3 and 4 to the start-finish line here to complete lap 3, begin lap 4, still side by side for the top position. Majulis that time faster. He's slowly working here on Lucas Ruark, not by him yet as they fire off into turn 3, still side by side for the top position. Third place still locked down by Starry. Oh, that's a close shot. Contact there. Majulis falls behind. Barber now into the 4th position. Langley 5th. How about back here in 6th? Robbie Buchanan Jr. And Buchanan Jr. would actually currently hold on to the final transfer if we had 17 or more cars. I believe we should start all 16 that showed. And down the backstretch, here comes Majulis one more time. That 127 not giving up, but he has fallen back now, right down along that inside wall on board with the master at work. Driver 1 by iRating out of New York, right to the inside here of Ruark through turns 1 and 2. Staying down low. And he's really holding himself back. He's not hitting the throttle too hard, not mashing the gas and spinning the tires in the slick. Everything I see out of these top 2 is really, really solid. 1 lap to go. Presented by Whiplash SimCams here in Heat 1. In this heat race, mostly a formality to set the lineup. Ruark out front, into turn 3, gonna cover up the inside. No move possible for Blake Majulis. And there you go. Heat race 1 done and dusted just like that. Nothing else changes in the back. It is tough to pass here today at Williams Grove Speedway. To be expected for sure coming into a round like this. Good to see Brennan Kennedy out in the YouTube chat. Glad to have you here, buddy, watching along. Let's take a look at our Heat 2 lineup. On pole, we'll find car number 6, Dylan Hauser. Logan Rumsey will start from the 2nd spot on the outside. Starting 3rd, it's Hayden Tollison. iRating number 16, car number 327. Watch out for him. Colton Zimmer starts from the 4th position. Trevin Lane, how about Trevin Lane in position number 5? He'll start from 5th on the inside of Cameron Kaysen. In your back row here in heat number 2, Robert Milburn and Matthew Selby. And we have seen a lot out of Selby this season. One of the other big guys over at Majulis C. We'll see what he can do. Pun not intended. One more time before we go heat racing. One more, well, I guess the 2nd time today. And the final time today, technically, Evan C., of course, got that big win in the VLR Spring Fling. But 22 points behind his teammate, not in this SOF race. That's going to be a challenge for C. I don't see Durgan this evening as well. Or I guess I should say either. I don't see Barrett Bishop. I don't see Cruz Caudell. But clearly these guys are running other races. They don't necessarily need to be in this SOF race to get themselves the points they need. I do see Selby, though. Coming in 7th. He's got himself 1 race win in 10 starts this season so far. We'll see what he can do. And Dylan Hauser down there in 10th. He's starting from pole here in heat race number 2. So as these guys pace down the backstretch, we've got one more straightaway before we go heat race 2 racing. One more look at the race details brought to you by Whiplash SimCams. They're bottom of the bottom right of your screen. And one more time, want to thank you for tuning in. Want to thank our partners here at Pit Stop TV as we let them loose out of turns 3 and 4. Green flag flies once again, and we are racing in heat race number 2. Up out of the final corner. One lap complete, and out front it is all Dylan Hauser racing under the flag stand. Trevin Lane, Cameron Kaysen, a slider there from Lane. He comes up, nearly clears Kaysen, doesn't quite get him. There's side by side now down the backstretch, and Trevin Lane gonna lose that spot. Maybe, as Kaysen tries to put the power down around the top side, and he will. Kaysen now pulling away from that position. Kaysen up to 5th, Lane down to 6th. Hauser, purple that time, a 20.061. And we're going to see all these guys stay relatively low down the racetrack this evening. That's just the racing line here, especially with late models at Williams Grove. Sprint cars might go a little further up the racetrack, build a cushion, but I think we'll see these guys stay pretty low on the racetrack this evening. One way out wide, that's Zimmer. And he was getting out there. Again, I ran some practice laps, and I love dirt racing. I can run practice laps a lot more easily for a dirt race than I can for a road race. Of course, the laps are much quicker, as Selby took a shot there at Lane, couldn't get by. But I definitely found that working around the bottom side, at least on the iRacing setup, seemed to be more beneficial. Work around the bottom, play with the throttle, treat it almost like a drift car, and you'll be better off, as Trevin Lane works here on Cameron Kaysen. Side by side behind him, Selby and Milburn. Down the front stretch, nose to, not nose to tail, side by side, nose to nose, if you will, is 3 wide right in the center of the corner. Back here in the back of the pack. Up front, Hauser's got company from Rumsey. On board with Logan Rumsey in the number 3 car, of course, a Pennsylvania native. 2 laps to go, 1 mile left, and oh, that's a big hit for Rumsey. A big hit there to the inside, sheared off the fender. I'm surprised he's still got a left front tire. And I thought coming into this race we might see somebody do that with the wall that juts out on the backstretch, as Milburn's got trouble. I did not expect Rumsey to be the one that hit a wall, certainly not the inside wall in turns 1 and 2. 1 lap to go, white flag is out, presented by Whiplash Sim Cams. Final time around the speedway. Hayden Tolleson in a fight here with Cameron Kaysen. But it's all Dylan Hauser out front. Checkered flag for car number 2 in heat race number 2. And that will set the lineup for our feature event of 30 laps at Williams Grove Speedway. Of course, this coverage brought to you by Elite Performance Industries. A big shout out once again to those boys. I know they're putting in some work. I know we saw Devin Morgan go out there and whack the field a little bit. Don't want to call it bushwhacking, but Morgan really surprised in round 1 back at Port Royal Speedway. We haven't seen him in this particular split of racing in a couple of weeks, but I'm sure we will. And I'm sure he'll go to victory lane again. We'll take a look here at our full starting grid then of 16 cars. No consolation necessary. On pole, Lucas Ruark, fastest in qualifying, fastest in heat number 1. He'll be starting from first position. Hauser from second after winning his heat race. Majulis and Rumsey, that's row 2. James Starry, Colton Zimmer, side by side for row number 3. Starting from 7th, how about Chase Barber alongside Hayden Tolleson? And to round out your top 10, Aaron M. Langley and Cameron Kaysen. Robbie Buchanan Jr. will start from the 11th position. Matthew Selby from the 12th spot. Tucker Elkins from 13th position. Trevin Lane from 14th. And to round out your field, you've got Jeremy Steele and Robert Milburn. I do quickly want to take a look at these paint schemes. There are some really solid ones out there. A quick nod to some of the painters. Here's Milburn's machine, sporting a painted on number 9. Jeremy Steele in the 14 by iRating this evening. Take a look at his number 22. Trevin Lane, a little further up, is number 7. Tucker Elkins in the number 87. Matthew Selby, he's got a, we're going to call that a number 40, it looks like. Or 46, I believe it is. Robbie Buchanan Jr., number 31 car, I believe it is. Yep, sure is. A lot of Majulis C logos. Cameron Kaysen, the number 18. Aaron Langley, the 14. Hayden Tolleson. And the number 327, Chase Barber down on the inside of the 23 car. Colton Zimmer in the number 20. James Starry in the 741, it looks like. Logan Rumsey, of course, in his signature, number 41. Majulis in his signature, 127. Dylan Hauser in the 2 car. And Lucas Ruark up there in the 5. We have got 30 laps of racing Track temp has come down. Air temp has not. It's staying up there, and boy, is it toasty in Virtual Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Green flag is out. 30 laps racing to go, and already a big crash on the front stretch. Your pole sitter turned around. Caution flag is out. Where will it score Lucas Ruark? How will this be handled? Not gonna be happy about that one. I want to say, wouldn't that have been off the nose of Blake Majulis? I believe so. There's Ruark, and it seems like the field has been split up a little bit. There's the back half of the field, the front half already on the front stretch, waiting for the iRacing.com pacing vehicle. Let's allow that to take place and take a look back at this replay, potentially. And no, that was off the nose of Hauser, rather, and then the nose of Majulis. How did this even happen for the 5 car? Watch Ruark down low. Throttles up, slides up a little bit. Hauser, of course, trying to drive down the racetrack, gets into the quarter panel, and just kind of brings the 5 lazily around. That's about the most dirt racing thing I think we could have had happen on the start of a race like that. I'm not sure they could have done it any better. And of course, that puts Hauser in the lead, and Ruark dead last. Will not be popular, at least from one of these camps, I'm sure. Well, either way, we're glad to have you watching along. We, of course, cover a lot of racing here at Pit Stop TV, more than just these dirt races on Monday nights, but we sure are glad to have these dirt races. Here, though, is a look at our upcoming broadcasts on the channel through the next couple of weeks nearly, as Tuesday evening, tomorrow night, June 27th, we go to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course with the D-Line Racing League, an elevated performance for round 6 of 12 for those late model stocks. Kind of a halfway break as they go to a road course still for points and have a single race format. Then Monday, of course, next week, we head over to Fairbury Speedway on July 3rd. It'll be an off day on July 4th for the D-Line Racing League, but Thursday we'll go road course racing once again with the North American Racing League. Green flag is out on the restart. And down to turn 1, some contact maybe between Majulis and Hauser. We get into turn 1 clean. We'll see if they stay clean through 30 laps. Contact there. Hauser door checking the 127. 1 lap complete under green now. And Majulis gets in there. Moves the 2 up the racetrack. Majulis, by the way, being scored well down the order. He's being scored in 15th position. Must not have obeyed something from iRacing. And for a second, I thought they were slowing down, but they stay green as Majulis is on the inside of... That's... Oh, wow. Scoring is all wrong. Logan Rumsey is being scored as 2nd place. Majulis and Starry are being placed 1 lap down. Wow. Scoring is all kinds of wrong here. This is really bizarre. I've not seen this before. So the 2 cars right behind Hauser are not for position, even though they are there. Majulis is nearly in the back end of Dylan Hauser. This is really interesting, and it's going to change this season up, I think, a little bit. As here comes Majulis off the top side. He's clearly got some speed. But even when he gets there, it won't be for the lead as Rumsey kind of straight lines into Zimmer a little bit. Up the racetrack they both go. That is technically now the fight for 3rd. Hauser's got company, though. Here comes Majulis back down low. And I've been talking to you, and I think we got stuck in a broadcast replay scene. I looked over after calling some laps, and I'm not sure how we got there. Racing though on lap 8 of 30. Majulis on the inside, crosses down to the inside on Dylan Hauser. He's going to go on through, I think, in turn 3, but that's not for the race lead by scoring. However, Barbara right on the back end of Hauser is. Barbara is for position, sends it around the top side of the racetrack, looking for the race lead on Dylan Hauser in the black number 2 on the inside. And I'm, again, a word comes to mind from my grandma, befuddled. I'm certainly befuddled right now, if you will. Scoring, having an issue with that lap 1 caution. We've seen it before in iRacing. All of you iRacers out there will probably be familiar. But Majulis has raced himself ahead of the race leader. However, not to the race lead. He is technically 20 seconds behind the leader and needs a caution. And then some, as he pulls away. Hauser still the race leader. Barbara second. Zimmer now is stuck behind James Starry in the 74. Zimmer, that blue and orange machine, number 20 on the side of it, as he slides into turn 1. And he's got to race a lap car for what would otherwise be 4th position, even though Zimmer is running in 3rd. I'm a little confused myself, but here comes Rumsey to the inside of Zimmer, racing side by side through turns 3 and 4. We're nearing closer and closer to halfway. Now, these guys will go through some of the, I think, highest tire wear we've seen this season, as here comes the 18 of Kaysen down low on Tucker Elkins. I think you might have him clear, maybe not. Elkins still up there, contact. They lean on each other, and we keep racing. Man, they are getting bogged down there in the center as Ruark came off the outside lane. And Lucas Ruark, who of course led us to the green flag, is stuck back here in all of this traffic, currently scored in 9th. Working on Robbie Buchanan Jr., Banana Man, and Ruark nice and tidy down around the bottom side of the racetrack, just trying to pick them off one by one. Look here at the day he's had. Started first, currently 9th after dominating Heat 1. I say dominating, I will say Blake Majulis had him in his vice. Just wasn't able to get by as Elkins and Kaysen still fight. This is for 10th on the racetrack as they are scored. Out front, it's still Hauser over Barbara. Starry still scored 1 lap down, and Majulis still scored as right in front of the leader. Rumsey now, a slider here on Starry, maybe. He at least dove to the inside, couldn't complete any slider as that was the halfway lap. We are now less than half of this race away from the checkers. 1 caution in the bank for these drivers, as Rumsey, Zimmer, and Langley will fight. Aaron Langley up out of turn number 2. Right on the back end here, the Majulis C, number 20 of Colton Zimmer. They are really getting bogged down the center of the corner. Listen to the engine, watch the speed. Down to 64 miles per hour here for Langley, as now Rumsey's to the inside of Starry. Contacted to turn 3. Everybody keeps it straight. Hauser low off of turn 4 that time. Maybe it'll open the door for the 23 of Barbara to come around the top side of the racetrack. What's interesting that I've noticed here is it looks like it's a House of Speed logo on Barbara's car, a House of Speed logo on Ruark's car, and of course Hauser is the driver that got into Ruark out of the race lead. We'll see how this goes. Oh, and it's a House of Speed logo on the 2 car, I see. So I think we're going to be okay. It'll be 10 laps to go this time by the start-finish line. 1 car down low. That is Rumsey. No, that is Langley. Working on Zimmer, rather. Tollison up into this fight. Cameron Kaysen doing some great fighting here as well as he gets by Robert Milburn. Kaysen's lost a few spots. Ruark, a slider there in 1 and 2. Gets by Buchanan Jr., at least for the time being, as Zimmer finally has more side-by-side company. Again from Aaron Langley. Still down on the inside. Not able to get by just yet. 9 laps to go for the race leaders. Nearly 3 wide as here comes Hayden Tollison on board with driver 327. The lowest I rating in the field, which is still a 5,400, as we've got contact in a lot of places. Everybody keeps it straight. Top I rating in the field, by the way, 11,075. Try that on for size, Blake Majulis, as he pulls away from these guys, although not for the race win. Your top two are in line by position. Third is a little further back as Rumsey rides behind James Starry. And again, it's all from a scoring issue at the start of this race. And I'm sure Blake Majulis will feel like he won this one when he pulls away and hangs on to it. He already has done the pulling away part. Just a couple of laps to go. Fairbreeze Speedway next up. I'm interested to see how these points change. Hauser is going to pick up a haul. And this will require Blake Majulis to run some extra races, I think, this week to try and get his average back up. I know he can use this as a drop week, but you never want to have to rely on a drop as Rumsey sends it to the inside. Moves Starry up the racetrack ever so slightly. 5 laps to go for the race leaders. Rumsey wants to get by. Up to the top side he'll go, trying to work in maybe a little bit of a cushion. There's nothing up there. Ruark up to 7th, passing Selby. And again, Rumsey going to try way up top. Starry, though, in the way. Another House of Speed car. Here comes Rumsey once again, back down to the inside. Contact, Rumsey with the 74. Starry's going to cut him off a little bit down to 3. Oh, that really covered up that slider. Beautiful job from Starry if he wants to keep blocking this guy. But Logan Rumsey wants to get on through. That 41 car has got some stuff to do. Almost got in front of the 74. Has him clear. There we go. Down the backstretch. Your top 3 in a line with 2.5 laps to go. Starry now holding up Langley. 2 laps to go at Williams Grove Speedway. 1 mile left. Every lane being used. Rumsey way up high again in the loose stuff, and it was an off corner there from Chase Barbara. He's sliding back. Gonna open up the door in turn 3. Here comes Rumsey. Takes up the track a little bit, way up to the outside wall. White flag, 1 lap to go for Dylan Hauser, presented by Whiplash Simcams. Contact down the front stretch for Selby. As we keep racing, here comes Rumsey. Couldn't get by the 23 yet. Side by side, they'll go down to turn 3 as Dylan Hauser's got him covered up. I know Majulis is going to feel like he got the win as Barbara grinds up the outside wall, but Hauser is going to victory lane. And I think Barbara just got Rumsey back. And of course, Majulis has to come around and take a painful 15th position result by scoring. Certainly will not be happy with the day today is gone. That's how it goes in iRacing sometimes. That is simply part of it. We'll take a look back at the unofficial race results. Of course, Dylan Hauser out front with the win when it was all said and done, even if scoring kind of manifested that based on that first lap yellow. And interestingly enough, keep in mind, I don't think anything was done wrong by either driver, but Hauser got in the back of Lucas Ruark, who, by the way, fought up to 7th place, but got in the back of Ruark to cause that lap 1 yellow. Barber goes 2nd, just nipped Rumsey at the line. Langley there in 4th. Zimmer hangs on to a top 5 after falling behind the 14 car of Langley. Hayden Tollison almost got to Zimmer, almost got that top 5 away. But still a very impressive race for somebody who came in with car number 16 in the session. Ruark falls to 7th. Selby there in the 8th spot. Buchanan Jr. and Jeremy Steele the rest of the top 10. A look here at the final 6. Kaysen, Elkins, Milburn, and Lane. And then Majulis and Starry, of course, lost out about 15 positions each thanks to the scoring error from the caution on lap 1. Things simply do happen sometimes, but I want to take a look back and see if we can find that finish between Logan Rumsey and Chase Barbara. And here it is, actually. This is coming to the start-finish line. Watch these two in slow-mo down to the start-finish. Barbara with a run. Just got the 41 car. That was beautiful. And we'll back it up a little further. Watch this down into turns 3 and 4. Barbara is going to get way up the racetrack in the 23. Hits the outside wall. It has just enough gusto to come back off the corner. Drag race gets him there at the line. Beautiful job by Chase Barbara to still hang on to that second position when it looked like it was all Logan Rumsey going on by him. Great stuff there. And great stuff all season long so far. We've taken a look at the schedule a couple of times. Here it is once more. Round 3 now in the books as it goes in our broadcast, and for the SOF split, which means Fairbury is next up on July 3rd. Of course, a patriotic day that'll be. Sure, we'll see a couple of red, white, and blue paint schemes in the field. Lernerville for round 5, I-55 for round 6, then Cedar Lake, Knoxville, Lucas Oil, Charlotte, Kokomo, and Eldora. You can thank Elite Performance Industries for having us along for this season of racing. It certainly has been a pleasure already, and we're only 3 weeks in. Wherever you watch from, thanks for watching. Let's take a look what we have coming up here on Pit Stop TV. Tuesday evening, tomorrow night, we head on out to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and we go racing with late model stock cars on the road course. The D-Line Racing League, brought to you by Elevated Performance. They'll go back to their short track ways a couple of weeks afterwards. Then Monday evening, July 3rd, of course, you see Fairbury Speedway in the lineup for us with the late models on Monday evenings. And Thursday next week, we go to Long Beach with Porsche Cup cars for the North American Racing League bonus race, or pretty much all-star race. There's even a sprint race, an open, if you will, to get some drivers in. Otherwise, race winners, pole sitters, and the like will be in that bonus race for hundreds of dollars of cash. Of course, thanks for watching here at Pit Stop TV. We certainly do appreciate it. We appreciate those over at Elite Performance Industries, as always. And those behind the scenes here for the channel, of course, Whiplash Media, SimCams, ATVO, CC's Business, and of course down along the bottom of the screen here in audio, ATVO, Whiplash Media, SimCams, OBS, and iRacing.com. That'll do it for us at Williams Grove Speedway. What a fun night of racing that was, even with a bit of drama, a little bit of controversy to get the race going. We had 16 cars, 16 started, 16 finished the race, just in a different order. We'll see you all next time. Fairbury Speedway next up. Can't wait to see you there.